Hello and welcome to Grungbob's Fortnightly podcast. This is the first of hopefully a series of many to come. Today we have Aanchal Bordoloi with us. She is a 21-year-old musician, singer-songwriter. She's been doing this for a while now and has also been a part of the Vienna Songwriters Circle, which she will tell us about, hopefully more later. And thanks for tuning in. Today's guest is special because she does a lot of things. She is it's safe to say that she's an established musician in the scene right now, and she shuffles going to college. You're studying psychology.
Yes.
And at the same time writing and recording multiple songs each week, and finding the time to even perform live almost every week. She just came back from her all India tour right last month, and after a brief break due to the third wave of the pandemic, she's back at doing shows again. We're really happy to have you today, and I have a few questions listed down for you. But before that, how are you? Tell our audience a little bit about how it's going with you right now.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I've been great. I've come back from a very tiring day at college, and I'm really pumped for this though.
Yeah, we're glad. Okay, so let's begin right away. How did you start your journey in music?
I think the first time I decided that music is what I want to do is when my best friend, when we were 10 years old, tells me that, hey, I want to become Hannah Montana. And I tell her, I want to be the same thing. So I never really stopped. So I was just obsessed with like Miley Cyrus and like Hannah Montana when I was 10. And it never really stopped after that. That's
Would you
where
say
the whole
that's a
dream
guilty
started.
pleasure even now?
Yes, I still listen to Miley Cyrus.
And it's not a guilty pleasure at
No.
all. It's just a pleasure. What would you say is what is your guilty pleasure then?
Guilty pleasure, well, too many. To name just a few, it would be listening to Taylor Swift on repeat, especially her old music. I still dance to her music till this date.
That is pretty cool. I think Taylor just dropped a really cool album now,
Yes,
which is
Evermore.
Yes. Isn't
Evermore.
it like musically really, really different from what she's done before?
Yes,
Interesting.
definitely.
Okay, so like when I asked you how did your journey start in music, I also meant like how did songwriting come into the picture? Like once you picked up the guitar, was guitar the first thing, or was vocal practice or singing the first thing that came to you?
I never thought of myself as a gifted singer because I struggled to get into the choir when I was like in third grade because I went to a boarding school. So I was in boarding school since kindergarten, and I always tried to make it to the choir, but I never did. But once I learned how to fake my voice and I suddenly made it. So that was my first attempt at being a vocalist. But I never really thought that I was good enough, and I was never looked upon as somebody who was a good vocalist.
Okay.
Then when I was in fourth grade, we had to compulsorily choose like a musical instrument, and I chose the guitar. I did not want to learn the guitar. I wanted to learn the piano, but my parents forced me to do it, and that's how I would say the entire interest came across. So it was first the guitar, and then the vocals came. So speaking about what really influenced me was my choir teacher. So we did a lot of music by John Denver, we did a lot of Bob Dylan, and we did a lot of these hymns that were passed down by the British.
Right.
So that was a really interesting take. So that really influenced me to sort of keep going. And I remember my first song was when I was probably 11 or 12 or 10. It was about a tiger. And I stole the lyrics from the choir and stuff. But it never really stopped after that. It just went on.
That is young. That is really young to write your first song about a tiger. Do you still remember that song?
I do, but I will not talk about the lyrics
I get it.
at all.
I get it. So, from what I hear, it looks like there was a lot of active community around music where you were growing up.
Yes, that would be a
that's why.
major... that's also probably another reason I never picked up Hindustani music or classical music. I really regret till this date why I wasn't trained. And I really want to go train and be like a properly trained vocalist.
Really?
So again, everything has its pros and cons. So maybe if it wasn't for that school experience, I wouldn't have been like obsessed with Bob Dylan, and I wouldn't have gotten his style of songwriting.
Probably, yeah.
So it's a mix of both. And
it makes sense. I've always thought that parents who put their children for vocal training or mostly classical training, classical is a discipline, in my opinion, which is very rigid. And when children are like really faced with that, they begin to like, distance from music itself
That makes sense.
in many ways. I've seen a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Well, what inspires you to write music? That's my next question. And yeah, there's a follow-up question to this, but what inspires you to write?
I really don't know how to answer that question because everything inspires me, honestly. So when I was in 8th grade, I started reading books by Louis L'Amour, and he used to read a lot. He used to write a lot about these cowboys and like Western music and the prairies. And I was so that also got me obsessed with country music in the first place.
Right.
So country music was a way for me to sort of write, to make all those scenes in his books come alive.
Okay.
And so my first few songs when I was like 12 and 13 were all about cowboys and the country song, all imaginary, Taylor Swifty sort of stuff. And one thing that I dealt with a lot in boarding school was fitting in. I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. So I struggled with self-esteem. I struggled with a lot of self-identity, and I always did not want to belong to those popular kids. I did not want to belong anywhere.
Right.
Although I did have an identity as that musician girl. Okay. So that sort of really inspires me till this date.
Okay.
So I think I label myself as an eccentric, and I'm proud of that. And I sort of want to reflect those ideals into my music. And I think that I am a hyper-sensitive person. I'm extremely sensitive. I cry over like really small things, and I use that to my advantage when it comes to songwriting. That's how it goes.
Before what you said just now, that's really brave of you to come out from there, like feeling like that when you're super young, and actually overcoming that by songwriting is not something that everybody can do. So like, awesome.
Thank you.
And about my follow-up question to this, which was like, what are your themes of songwriting? What are your most common themes that surround your songwriting?
So I write a lot about unrequited love. That's one thing I write a lot about. And a lot of people who listen to my music are like, hey, like, I bet you've been on so many like dates and relationships. Honestly, that's false. I haven't dated anybody. I don't know how it feels to really be in love with somebody. I write all of that in my music. So that's how it goes. That's one of the main themes that I write about a lot. Again, so I think this, and also not fitting in. I'm I hate the concept of masking yourself just to be with somebody, or just to pretend that you're somebody else, just to act cool for somebody. I do not like that. Yeah. So I think a lot of that anger is reflected in my songwriting. And recently I wrote the song called Over Expressive, and that means the most to me, and I really hope to continue in this line of songwriting. So why that song means a lot to me is that it talks about patriarchy in general. So I do not want to sound like a pseudo-feminist. I have studied feminism, so I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
I really want to talk about gender equality. I want to talk about themes like gender roles, for example, and why you have to be yourself in society and not just just like a blind follower or something. So I want to get more into these topics as well.
Right. So you said the song name was Overexpressive.
Yeah.
Is this what the song covers? Like what you just described?
Yes. I mean, also the main reason why it's called overexpressive is that girls are not expected to be overexpressive. So if you start like expressing yourself a lot and if you're like all aggressive all the time, it's against the gender role of girls being expected to be submissive and kind all the time. So that's like a direct challenge to that notion. Right. So that's why I like the term overexpressive.
That's interesting. Have you finished the song?
Yes, I have.
Right. Have you performed it live yet?
Yeah, so the name of my tour was the Overexpressive Tour.
It was.
So yes, I have performed it live, and I'm dying to record it soon.
Nice. Awesome. So somewhere I believe that you classified yourself as being, what do you call that? Hypersensitive.
Yeah.
I think that also, since you can feel more things, you can translate that into songwriting as well. So that's another thing where probably it really helps you out. Cool. I'll ask you the third question later. I want to ask you before that, like, how was your experience being a part of the Vienna Songwriters Circle? How was that?
That was
Can you tell us a
major push in my songwriting journey. So I feel that I was meant for that, because if that did not happen, I feel I wouldn't have really made it as the songwriter that I am today, in terms of creativity, not the stage-wise.
Okay.
So I hate brainstorming. I feel brainstorming is a very bad technique when you want to like be a creative person and get the best ideas. But brainstorming is actually exactly what we did in these singer-songwriter circles.
Right.
So we'd get together. So the sessions were basically a few professionals would come and they talk about music in general. And after that, they would divide us into circles, into groups, and they'd give us 30 minutes to come up with a song, no matter what. Just 30 minutes is all you have.
Yeah.
And we came up with some really good music back then. I think that process of brainstorming really helped me and even helps me till this date.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, and I also performed for the Vienna Songwriters Circle. And it was a very, very insightful experience. And one more thing is that the musicians that I worked with in the Vienna Songwriter Circle, one of them is hyper famous now. She is mad famous. And before she was a nobody. She now works with like people like Stu Larson, who is basically Passenger's friend. And it's nice to see how people are actually growing and that you are connected with these people. It's a beautiful feeling.
That is awesome. So in these time-bound activities, were you guys writing songs as a group?
Yeah, we were writing songs as a group.
And were there any like individual activities as well in the group?
No.
It was all about making songs as a group.
Yes.
So like you shoot one lyric line and the other one complements it by their input and all.
Yeah, and there's obviously an instrument, so you complete the song. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And how old were you when you were a part of this?
I was 16.
That is again like that's a good age for exposure to that as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have a funny question because this is something that's happened with me personally. I don't know if more of you songwriters will relate. Have you found yourself in social situations where you're like, I want to just get out of here and go to my room and finish this song idea that's stuck in my mind, or maybe to jot down this new sketch before it, rusts away or something? So
well, thankfully, it's not happened during social situations. It's mainly happened when I'm back home in Assam and I'm walking around the garden. So I have this daily ritual of just walking in the garden no matter what. I have like a lot of cats who follow me around the garden. So it's a very cat lady sort of thing that I do. And
13 cats too.
Yes, we have 13 cats.
Yeah.
So it's happened to me twice though. It's like I'm just walking and I'm thinking about a person or a thing and lines just come. I don't even have to force it. It's the most beautiful feeling ever.
Right.
So what I do is I directly run to my room and then I write down the lyrics or I voice record if I have a tune in mind. But I feel nature is the biggest inspiration that way then.
Right. Nice. What is this? What is the time of this garden walk?
Evening.
Just curious.
Evening around
right?
like
Yeah.
5, 6 around that time. Perfect.
Yeah. With that tea in the tea estates. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. So she is from Assam, like I mentioned before, and there are beautiful tea estates over there and everything. Cool. What would you say are the challenges surrounding songwriting? Now, I ask you this question because you've mentioned quite a few times before that you mentioned two things, that sometimes it's very lucid how the songs come to you, like effortlessly, and sometimes when you were in the Vienna Songwriter Circle, you were posed with difficult situations like quickly write a song in 30 minutes, so things like that.
Yeah.
My question to you is, and maybe our viewers and listeners benefit from this, my question is, what are the challenges surrounding songwriting according to you?
The first thing I think is repetition. So I am well aware that all of us have a specific identity that we want to sort of imply in our songwriting and our music in general. So for example, I want to be perceived as like this hippie girl with like a lot of insight who reads like a lot of poetry and stuff. So what I noticed was that I tend to sort of repeat these themes over and over again in all of my songs. So there are like a few words which keep repeating in all of my songs. I'm a huge fan of Mumford & Sons, and I know their songwriting style because I've actually Googled how they like write their songs.
Right.
And I feel it's very, like I try emulating it so much that it sort of becomes very boring at the end of the day. So I feel that we always need to keep exploring. Like repetition, I feel, just kills it. Right. So that's one thing that I need to be very mindful of when I'm writing my future songs. And the only other thing I can think of is, I think it's not really nice if you force yourself to like come up with something. It has to be there. I know this goes against the whole brainstorming technique, but I just feel that it doesn't really feel genuine when you're doing it. Like performing is something, feeling a soul-to-soul connection is something else. So if you want your music to have that soul, I feel it's better if you just let it flow authentically.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe the timed exercise could be an exercise.
It could be an exercise,
It
yes.
doesn't have to result in a
Yes, yeah.
song.
Yes.
About-
And if it doesn't, that's totally fine. I mean, you
That
can
is.
always work on it. And
Exactly. About the repetition thing, I kind of agree. I also have felt multiple times that most of my favorite artists are those who grew with time. Like Radiohead. Most people know Radiohead by Creep. But their later albums like Kid A and everything,
there's a
they
song
really
called
broke
Fake
boundaries.
Plastic Trees, which
Fake
is
Plastic Trees
so
too.
folk in nature, I feel. And there's so much of emotion there.
It is a really emotional song. I've played that live many times. I love that song. I'm a huge Radiohead fan. But I wouldn't agree to that it's folk. I wouldn't go by that.
Resonated with
Probably.
like a folk. I find folk in everything I like. So,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, about Radiohead also, like they have grown with time. Like from from the Creep album, like I think it was called Honey something, and then from there to like Kid A was like a huge. I'm still waiting for the new singles. Moving on. Now that we're on the topic, who would you say are your biggest inspirations till date? I know you've covered this before a little bit, like Bob Dylan and Mumford and Sons. But like if you had to just like jot them down for our listeners, who are your biggest inspirations till date?
If somebody asks me this question, even if they ask me like who's your favorite singer in the whole damn world, the first name that I always say is Ditty. So she goes by the artist name Aditi Veena, and I am in love with her music and everything that she stands for. So she is definitely on that list. Mostly because I feel that she's a niche artist, and I sort of like it when you sort of embrace that nicheness, if you may call it. She writes a lot of songs about the environment, and I feel that's really encouraging. So Ditty is obviously one. Taylor Swift. I don't think there can ever be a time when I'm not listening to Taylor Swift. Like, she is always there. And I'll be honest, like a lot of her songs in like the Lover album and the Reputation album, if you like check out the lyrics for songs like Dress and Don't Blame It On Me, wait, I'm forgetting the names of the songs. They're really stupid. I wouldn't sing them, honestly. But then I feel that they really hit you somewhere, and I really like that. So Taylor Swift is there. Mumford & Sons, Bob Dylan. Thinking of more. So country music, a lot of heroes that I have were in country music. So Brad Paisley, Eric Church.
Right.
For now, I'm currently obsessed with Paulo Nutini, who's like this whole cool-ass folk singer, the Lumineers. And when it comes to Bollywood music, it's Amit Trivedi. I have this special thing towards some special weird liking to his music. Because it's like I listen to his Punjabi stuff and I'm like, whoa, this is the mood I want to be. And his Lutera album was, oh my god. Yeah. Crazy.
Amit Trivedi has his way of... I think his music stands out also because it's way more intricate than your typical Bollywood stuff. Yeah. About your influences, like you mentioned, are mostly something that you were listening to from an early age. Like you said that your love for Taylor Swift songs is like... You can't explain that, right? I
still listen to Love Story and I dance. Yeah. It's just that.
I remember reading about this study where the music that you actually listen to in your early teenage years and like in the middle of the teenage is what sticks. It like really sticks.
Yeah, and that makes sense also.
Yeah. All right. You study psychology. So I wanted to ask you, does psychology stem into your songwriting in ways probably subconscious and maybe you see later, or do you feel that way?
So the whole essence of songwriting is a ego defense mechanism. So given my Sigmund Freud, it's called sublimation. Okay. So basically what you're doing is all your unconscious impulses and desires, you're channeling it through socially acceptable ways, which is music and art. And I feel that I'm aware of this. So that's why I'm more confident when I'm doing it.
Right.
So the next time I write a poem about somebody or something happened and then I'm proud of it because I know the whole reason behind why that happened, what that happened. And also I feel psychology is a huge plus point because you get to know a few more quirks about other people's behaviors. Obviously, we cannot read minds. Right. But then there are so many little things that if you notice, you can actually write them in your songs.
Right.
So I'm doing MSc in psychological counseling now. Okay. And the skill of observation is very much focused on. It's like a top skill that you need to have. And we learn about the intricacies of observation.
Okay.
So, for example, you walk into a room and you notice like the littlest things about the room. And it indirectly sort of may have influence or the other person's personality.
Okay.
So I'm a songwriter, so I can actually write about those little small details in my music. So I feel it's a plus point, honestly, and it's really interesting. But the sad part I feel is that there's too much analysis going on. So I analyze my songs way too much, and it's not necessary, I feel.
That must happen, but that's a really interesting take.
Yeah.
I've actually not come across this opinion about things, and it makes total sense. Would you later, or maybe now, tell us like a lyric line from one of your songs that describe your immediate surrounding, which probably you took up from your observational skills and put it into the song right away? I remember there's a song, Void, where you're writing about and the boys walking out on the streets.
Yeah.
Smoking out.
Yes, I can talk about that.
Is that relevant here?
Yes, very relevant. So
awesome.
In that song, the chorus is basically describing my walk from my college to my PT. So I observe a lot of small things going around here and there. So I have this habit of checking out a lot of girls and like what they're wearing, and the guys. I especially check out guys who wear like a lot of hippie outfits. I'm obsessed with hippie outfits and boho stuff. So I put that in my songwriting. So there's one line which says, pretty girls with their dresses on and boys smoking up on the sidewalk. That line is actually for the auto wallahs.
Okay.
Every time you pass by, it just smells of weed. So just needed to write that down somehow and find a connection. And so the first line of Void is, first few lines are, I let down tears. Wait, I smile after I'm out of that door and take it all the way to the front porch. Love holds no meaning here, an emptiness that I fear. The front porch thing actually happened. So what I talk about in the song is that I'm in this house of some person.
Okay.
And I smile. I'm literally doing it. I come, I'm smiling because I'm thinking of that person, and I wait for the cab in the front porch. So I wanted that song. And the next few lines of the song anyway talk about that cab and the taxi and the way home.
Right.
So I like putting a lot of small details. Yeah.
Right. Her song Void is under production right now. It's going to be out soon. It's actually literally the length of my whole EP. which I released in September. It's 8 minutes, and it's a really good song though. It doesn't get, in my opinion, it doesn't get redundant at all.
Thank you for that. Very.
Yeah, if you're into lyrics, if you're really into like what the artist is trying to say. Many people around me that I have made music with in the past have just been so oblivious to lyrics. It's astounding. It's like it's the music is good. Like I could never actively listen to death metal for the same reason that like I couldn't take the growling, but these people are like, oh, growling's fine, even I don't like it, but I can just chill with the music. I can't do that. I cannot. So anyway, that's about thanks for the insight about the song. I'm sure people are going to appreciate that and learn from that. Next question is pretty basic, but I think it's one of the most important, because what we're trying to do here in these podcasts is to bring about personal challenges for people, right? So my question to you is, now you're a student, you're writing songs, you're recording songs, you're performing as well. I'm sure you have to chill with your friends as well. That's a part of life, go out, things like that. So how do you manage going to college, chilling with your friends, writing, recording, performing, and being sane at the same time and not too overworked and all of that?
So I've been doing this for the past 3 years. I'm continuing my college in the same place itself.
Okay.
So my undergraduate was relatively easier. Also, my first 3 years in college, it wasn't really hard managing with the music scene because I was relatively new at that time. So there weren't any offers. I wasn't recording anything. So slowly, that workload started increasing.
Right.
And I think one way I like to manage everything together is that I'm a big nerd. I enjoy what I study. So one of the subjects that I studied was women's studies, for example. I can rant about feminism for like women's studies in general for like a lot of time.
Also Women's Day today. Happy Women's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's... So I think I managed that because I've learned to sort of accept the things that I can't change. So I hate a few subjects that I'm studying right now. For example, I hate studying about statistics and quantitative research methods because I'm a very artistic person and I don't like it when there's too much science involved. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to sort of put a lot of love into that field. I think what really keeps me going is this meaning of life at the end of the day. You want to let there be a lot of love in whatever you're doing is what I feel. Also, I can't really imagine my life without any of these things.
Right.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't imagine myself being a full-time musician. I wouldn't want that, honestly.
Really? That's interesting because I think you're probably headed towards that.
Thank you. But so I really want to give back to society, and I feel counseling would help me do that.
Okay.
And I have personally undergone a very traumatic incident when I was 16.
Okay.
And that again reflects in my songwriting, so that again is relevant here. I want to help these people who have undergone similar situations and do not know how to deal with it.
Okay.
I want to propagate topics like self-love and like spirituality. So I think that sort of really keeps me going, that no matter how hard things are, I mean, things are really hard. Like, I really don't get time for myself at all. But in the end of the day, I feel is that if you have like a vision in mind that this is what you want to do, and for the next 2 years, I'm going to be doing this, I think you will just get through it and just keep hustling. That's all. But it is hard. I won't deny that. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about what you mentioned. I'm sorry to hear about that, and obviously very, very proud that you're actually
doing
like,
something for it, and
and doing something to actually give to the society in a way that people learn from that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's brilliant. And this is really new. I've known you for a bit, but I did not know that you didn't want to do the music full-time thing. And it's an interesting take actually, because to each his own or her own. It's just how they've written it.
Yeah,
that whole proverb, right? That's just like that.
It's Women's Day today, so special emphasis. It's okay.
To each their own.
That works.
All right. At this point, do you still have stage fright?
I do.
You do?
I like I mentioned, I'm hypersensitive. There was this one concert I went to. It was a house concert. I started crying.
What?
Before the show, because I was so shy. Shy because the organizers were all college students and I thought they were too cool for me, so I just started crying.
Oh, okay.
And obviously one of them got to know and he told everybody, oh, the main singer's crying and stuff. So that did happen. That did happen once. I cry when I'm very emotionally attached.
No, yeah, of course.
A lot of things. I still do have stage fright. So for example, I opened for Joel Jacob, right? For his debut single launch. Yeah. I was freaking out.
Really?
And he was right in front of me. I think one reason why I was freaking out was ever since I came to Bangalore as a 18-year-old, I've been obsessed with his music in general.
Joel Jacob, right?
Yeah.
He's a great musician.
Yeah,
like a terrific singer. I think Jacob Collier recently
put his reel on his story or something.
He gave him a shout out, man. That's big.
Yeah, Jacob Collier.
That is huge. But anyway, I'm sorry I laughed when you told me about the incident about the boy going and telling. I found it so funny. Like, this guy just has nothing else better to do.
And I didn't know that he went and told everybody. I got to know because some random dude comes to me and he's like, bro, apparently you're crying and all. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I laughed at. Like, dude, what are you doing? Anyway, yeah. So, you were telling us about the RCB.
Joel Jacob. Yeah, I was scared to perform in front of him. Till this date, if I meet Joel Jacob, I'm still scared. Because I feel that he's way too humble for his existence.
Right.
There are some people I feel that are way too humble, like Vasu Dixit, for example. Or Anjani Ramadas, for that example. I just texted her today and she acted like she was best friends with me or something. So I mentioned her in my story today because of some Women's Day listing or something. She followed me and I freaked out. So if I were to perform with Ranjani, for example, for like a gig where a lot of women are performing together, I would freak out. Really? I am not confident till this date. It's never happened.
That's understandable. But I'm pretty sure there are many people who are intimidated by you as well in the same way.
I don't think so.
I mean, you wouldn't. Like, probably they also don't know that. I think it's humbling to meet someone who you believe is like way more talented than you. Like, personally, when you meet someone who's way more talented than you, and like you just get like that. You just get like, okay,
why are they so sweet, man? Like Bruce Lee money. Like, why? Tony Das is the sweetest guy ever, and I feel that he should win Grammys or something. Like,
these people are really reachable. I found that most people who are good at what they do are humble. In contrary to the people who don't do much and have that arrogance. So it's really a paradox. And also, I do remember contacting Ranjani about saxophone playing for my project. And she was really reachable. Although at the time she had an unfortunate accident, she was only singing, not playing the saxophone. So she told me about it, and it was really humbling again.
Exactly.
I don't have a better word. That she was just really reachable, and she was like, all right, dude, I can't do it now, but maybe later.
I'm fangirling over her. So I know another
Yeah.
guy who like contacted her because he wanted to collaborate with her, and he's like, dude, she's so chill. She texted me back and she followed.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I did not expect that because she's way too cool.
Exactly. This shows that these people are doing their music for the love of it. Like they're not linking it to any reason of any source to derive
that arrogance from.
Like for instance, Bharat Kashyap is the guitarist for Cinema of Excess. They have their EP coming out, local Bangalore band, this 20th itself.
Yeah.
So really cool. Just so humble and approachable. So I respect that. Did the camera go off? We'll begin with the next question. It's okay. Yeah. All right. We had a little bit of a hiccup, a technical glitch. The camera failed us, but we're back again. So we were discussing how humbling it is to meet a musician who is senior to you, and also how approachable they are, and it's just a great feeling, right? So following that up with my question to you is like, what would you say are the challenges that songwriters in today's musical ecosystem face, whether it's like just getting your stuff out there, or what it really takes to, like you said, like in your earlier years at college, you weren't really performing that much and shit like that, but now you are actually performing a lot, and you just did an India tour as well, and you just dropped a single, and you're working with a few producers as well, and another singers in due. So what I want our listeners to, probably people who are getting into songwriting and everything, to understand is, how do you get to a place where you are more visible as an artist?
So to answer that question, everybody till this date, even whenever I perform, they label me as that open mic girl. So how I initially made it was not made it, but like got gigs was, I used to go to every single open mic in this place. My college was so bloody tiring. I can't like even talk to you about how tiring it is every day, like 9 to 4:30.
Yeah, Christ College is tiring. It has a reputation.
I was not in Christ.
You were not in Christ
then? I was in IIPR.
Okay.
I was continuing in the same
But
college.
now you are.
No.
You're not in Christ.
No, I dropped out of Christ because I figured it would be too hectic for me to continue music alongside Christ.
All the more goes for the reputation of Christ College, just killing their students. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. Go ahead.
So no matter how tired I was, I would still walk to this open mic called Cadence. By the way, they had a huge influence on where I am now as an artist, so I'm very grateful for them, and I love them for that. So no matter how tired I was, I would just walk 30 minutes to Cadence, go there, get my college friends to come and support me, and that's how it all started. I made a lot of friends in the open mic scene, and I performed at every open mic possible. That was how I did it, man. And a lot of people called me crazy. For example, I went to the Humming Tree and I begged them for like 20 minutes to give me a slot. And I negotiated with them saying, I'm just 18. I traveled all the way from Koramangala. I'm new to Bangalore. And they were so irritated. Yeah. So I feel that you should be ready for everything. If you want something, then you have to be ready for everything that comes your way. I got a gig at Fandom because I sent them an email and everything saying I'm interested. I opened for this Pink Floyd tribute gig.
Right.
And while I was performing, there was this one lady who, while I'm performing, she goes to the Facebook event page and then she's like, this act is shit. What the hell is this open mic going on? I can't stand this noise. Wow. So you will find a lot of instances like this. I have received a lot of negative comments on my Instagram saying I suck, I sing horrible. And I think...
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so I think one thing that I would advise to you is... keep hustling no matter what, and expect a lot of people to say a lot of crap behind your back, because at the end of the day, I think the indie music scene in India is a very niche thing. Even if you look at all the singers, songwriters who made it, you can see that there's a lot of politics going on there, and I'm not shy to like talk about it, but I feel that there's a lot of politics already.
Yeah. Where there are humans,
wherever you go,
be.
Exactly. So you have to be ready and prepared for anything. But on the positive note, if it is something that makes you happy, I think you should do it anyway.
Right.
Keep just hustling.
Keep hustling. I think the takeaway from this is that you have to be out there and you have to be more approachable. Like when I released my EP in September, I was like, should I be performing at open mics? Moreover, for the fact that I have been doing music for a while now, and I've been playing with my band as well. And I'm like, going to an open mic could be like, I don't want to do that. But then, you know what? I did go out there. And we did speak about it earlier. And you told me that, you know, how you just have to be in the places, like out there, basically, and meeting people and performing as much as you can. It's, again, this all just boils down to the love of performing. I went out there, I played quite a few open mics there, and it really helped me to get the message out there. Thank you for that. I hope you guys will benefit from that. Word of advice? Do you have a word of advice for people who are getting into music right now? I think you just did that. Yeah, but
it's just that it's going to be hard anyway. Whatever you do in life is going to be hard unless you're like a rich star's offspring. But it's going to be hard. Anything in life is going to be hard anyway. I think so. I remember I was in Shillong. And I met this guy called Lou Majao. He's known as the Bob Dylan of India. And the first time I was I felt this sense of intimidation was when I saw Lou Majao. I was so intimidated I didn't speak to my parents the next day. So I was that in love with his music and his style. He's so old, but then he performs like he's Mick Jagger or something. Love him. So he approached me after I performed at this open mic. And then he came up to me and he's like, Aanchal, you have a lot of soul in your music, and that's all that matters. And I feel that if people have that thing, that soul, that will to do it, no matter what, you will find a way.
Yeah.
No matter what, you will find a way.
Right.
If there's love, it's going to find you. I mean, it's going to work out.
Right. Yes. That's some wise words, because music is about artistic expression.
Yes. That connection and...
Yeah. Exactly. What you bring to a performance from within is what matters. You can be technically really skilled, in my opinion, but still not be able to do justice to...
Have that soul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like you said, actually feeling what you write and then letting the song ripen, which is my next question. Like, how long do you let songs ripen? Has there been... Like, are there some songs that just immediately brew up, or are there more songs that just take time? Because...
Of course.
Right? So, how long would you say it... When do you, you know, put a finger on a song and tell, like, okay, this is done and I'm performing it today at the show?
I don't think I've ever experienced that.
Right.
I've never felt happy with a single song of mine, not even Void, even though it's 8 minutes long.
Really?
I always feel that there's something I can write to it. So far, Whiskey Blues was the easiest song for me to write. Like, I wrote it like really quickly. I wrote like the second verse in 10 minutes because I felt I had a lot of strength. So the thing is, I went through like a weird experience with a few friends I made outside college. And the song was again also about unrequited love and all of that. And this friend of mine, she actually heard it and she knew the story, and the song was actually supposed to be just one verse. But I posted it on my Instagram and everyone went mad. They're like, how can it be one verse? You need to add one verse. We're like dying for the second verse. That's how it like came up. So Whiskey Blues relatively was very easy to write and like come up with. Recently there was this one song called All in My Mind. That song, the story is like still going on, so I don't think I'll ever be happy with like what is the end result of a song. So all my songs are basically stories. And I don't think I can ever feel that sense of completion. Okay. I just think if it's attractive enough for an audience, then I'm like, okay, I'll perform it. But I'm internally never satisfied.
That is interesting. Okay. And cool. What are your future works? What can we expect to see from the studio? What are you like working on right now?
Like I mentioned, Void, hopefully that turns out, because I'm struggling to find time with college assignments and like performances. So hopefully Void is there. So a lot of people like listen to Whiskey Blues and they were really disappointed, and they said, how can you release a 2-minute song when you're already such like a songwriter? And they got very disappointed.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I also have a 2-minute something song and I got a lot of shit about that. Yeah. I don't get it.
And then I'm like, okay, nice. Now for you, I will release Void.
One whole EP of a song.
Which is 10 times more like depressing, but hopefully not. Hopefully not to the audience. I am working with Vasa Dikshit. I hope like that turns into fruition very soon.
That's awesome.
Because I feel that he's always busy. I'm always busy with my college assignments. And I really want to tour again. I really want to go to Bombay and perform again. So I'm looking at doing these house shows again. This is a single, not like doing like a proper tour, but like solely reaching out to like organizers and saying, hey, I want to perform. I feel that would sort of broaden my audience in different cities.
Right. Which is your favorite city to perform in?
Pune.
Pune?
God.
Really? I thought it would be Bangalore, man.
No. Okay. But no, like for that tour, Pune was the best city.
Okay.
So I was singing Void, right?
Yeah.
So like the whole song talks about how you're expecting this boy to sort of fill this void in your heart and stuff.
Yeah.
And the last two songs and the last two lines of the song are a song could fill this void, and everybody they heard and they were like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that was like my favorite part of the tour because they were actually listening
Very
to the
receptive.
lyrics.
Yeah,
and I sang the song called Sit Next to Me. It's a very sad love song, and everyone's just like, oh, and they were asking me the story behind the song. So Pune was the most interactive audience I have had so far, and I'm still blushing when I think about Pune.
Okay.
But Bangalore is home.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider it a part of the equation. Like I'm
Yeah.
like Bangalore home.
Right. Makes sense. So about your other works, she is also a part of Indie Inconvenience, which is like an indie band. They have a lush sound. Go check them out. Indie Inconvenience. So what's happening with that? I'm really eager to hear something because
We are working on it. I swear. We've already started.
Aditya, where are you? So
Yeah.
Aditya is
My friend, who's also the producer.
Yes.
He has very nicely found himself very caught up with other music projects. He's working with, he's a part of a new band called Over the Edge.
Over the Edge, yeah.
Yes.
We played
And
together.
he's working with this another great singer-songwriter called Amit, who is amazing, has a very John Mayer style. And he's also busy, I'm also busy, but hopefully we come up with something because I feel that Indie Inconvenience is my sort of alter ego.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You should have like, I believe it's great to have multiple projects like that.
I can see that with
Yeah.
Drew Fox, it's fine.
Yeah. So you should check out Aanchal's single that she dropped like last month.
Yes, Feb
Whiskey
11th.
Blues, Feb 11th. It's called Whiskey Blues. You'll find it on Spotify and all other streaming platforms. Also check out Indie Inconvenience's single Overtime. It's also all there, and they also have multiple versions of the song, which is really cool. I just absolutely love that song and probably will be covering it really soon.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Basically.
I was speaking to Aditya about it last time I met him. With this, I would ask you if you have a song for our listeners today. If you would like to perform a song for us.
I'd love to sing Whiskey Blues for you. It's,
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is your latest single?
Yeah.
All right.
Promotion.
I'll get you.
Subtly putting it there.
Are you putting a capo? Are you
Yeah,
using a capo?
7th fret.
Oh, nice. Do you need a pick?
No.
There you go.
Thank you. So here's Whiskey Blues. I'll just... I spend the night staring at your door, hoping there's something more that you'd like to say. There was a more disclosure than talking anyways. I needed closure, but it was best I didn't stay. I pulled out the guitar, and it still smells of you. The smoke and all the blues. Could you put it another way? It wasn't the whiskey, believe me. Do you remember the other day? Silence by the moon, a reverie. How could you have walked away? There were so many things I was dying to say. I once used to care, and now it brings me to tears. Sit beside me with the movies we could watch through the night. A cup of tea and memories and things we walked away from 'cause it didn't seem right. You shied away from love. This too will fade with time. It's alright. I couldn't make you mine. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Aanchal. This song, I haven't probably told you this, but I heard it at one of your shows. And it was in my mind. Like, I used to always like, which is that song? I'll ask her next time, but I would always forget. The I spend the night, that sentence, right? That melody was stuck in my mind. Awesome. So I would like to thank you for actually making it through a tough day and actually coming here and sitting down with me and doing this. Like I said, this is the first of hopefully a series of videos coming for the Fortnightly Grungbob's podcast. Thank you to the listeners and watchers of this. I really appreciate it, and we have a new exciting guest already lined up. So, I will see you guys soon. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.